Hi, it's Pastor Mark returning for our Holy Week devotions. And I want to read to you now from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 26, starting at verse 59. It says, "The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Finally, two came forward and declared, 'This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days.' Then the high priest stood up and said to Jesus, 'Are you not going to answer? What is this testimony that these men are bringing against you?' But Jesus remained silent. The high priest said to him, 'I charge you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God.' 'You have said so,' Jesus replied. 'But I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven.' Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, 'He has spoken blasphemy. What do we need any more witnesses? Look, now you have heard the blasphemy. What do you think?' 'He is worthy of death,' they answered. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists. Others slapped him and said, 'Prophesy to us, Messiah. Who hit you?' I want to ask you right now, how does it feel when you are accused of something? The first response, I think a very human response, is to immediately want to defend yourself, especially if the case is that you really haven't done what you're being accused of, right? You just want to argue, you want to fight, you want to deny it, you want to do everything you can to set the record straight, right? You don't want to be accused because it's difficult. Years ago, I had a friend, and this is quite a few years ago now, I had a friend who was accused of sexual assault. Now this wasn't something that was in keeping with his character or his other type of personality things he did, and there was no evidence of it. And the accusation was brought by someone who had other reasons to try to hurt him. And ultimately, after an investigation, it was found that the accusation was false. But I remember being with my friend one day. We were out and we encountered someone who declared, despite the evidence, she didn't know whether to believe he was innocent. See, she believed the accusation. And in a way, she kind of ended up re-accusing my friend for something she didn't know anything about. And I remember being with my friend and just seeing how that just deflated him. It took so much out of him, made him so angry, it made him so indignant. And yet he was so defeated and he was so hurt, as he realized that nothing he said or did could ever convince some people of his innocence. They were always going to accuse him of this. Such is the pain we experience when we are wrongfully accused, and such is the pain being experienced by Jesus in this passage. I mean, as the religious leaders of the people, those who are supposed to be the holy people, they're bringing all sorts of accusations they know are false against him, in order to try to put up some sort of reason to kill him. They want him dead. And in the end, all they can come up with is charge of blasphemy, speaking against God, which is a very serious charge in that culture. But they came up with this charge because Jesus claimed to be the Son of God, the Messiah, which he was and is. You see, he did nothing wrong. Yet they say he is worthy of death for it. He gets that false accusation. And yet Jesus does nothing to defend himself. He doesn't argue. He doesn't deny. He doesn't fight, doesn't battle, because maybe he knows that nothing he could do would convince some people of his innocence. They're always going to see him as guilty. Same way as my friend. He knows that this is the hour when evil reigns, and that he, an innocent man, will be falsely accused and found guilty. See, most of us, when we're falsely accused, we rant and we rail and we do everything we can think of to try to sway people to what we know to be the truth. There's just this deep need, this innate need within us for justice to be done there, for the truth to be known. And it's almost impossible for us to squelch that, to keep that indignation buried within us. We don't like being falsely accused. Neither does Jesus. But he holds it all back to continue in his Father's will. He holds it all in so that he, an innocent man, can go to the cross to pay the penalty for the sins of those who would accuse him if they would just accept it. He goes to the cross to pay the penalty for our sin, yours and mine. He's wrongfully accused. Jesus gets no justice here. And he did it for you. God bless.